My parents locked my 13-year-old daughter in a room and went on a trip when I was on a business trip. When my daughter told me everything on the phone, I called her parents, and they laughed and said, "It's your daughter, take care of her and don't bother us anymore." Hung up the phone. When they got home, they were shocked because at home, New York's autumn mornings always start with light rain. In a quiet corner of downtown, near the Empire State Building, the silver sign for Jessica Weber's law office shone in the morning light. After leaving a big law firm 11 years ago, Jessica had built her own strong and successful practice. Now 45, she sat at her desk on the 20th floor, going through documents for a new case. On the walls were her law degree from Columbia and many awards, including one for being a top woman business owner in New York State. Next to them was a family photo of her smiling with her husband Adam and their 13-year-old daughter, Angela. Adam was working in Singapore for a few more months. "Miss Weber, here are the documents for the 9:30 a.m. meeting," said Emma, her secretary, handing her a neat stack of papers. Emma was always very organized, and Jessica trusted her completely. "Thank you." "Oh, did you hear anything from Angela's school?" "Yes. They changed the choir practice schedule. I sent you the email." Jessica glanced at the clock. It was 9 a.m. Angela would be on the school bus by now. Just then, her phone beeped. A message from Angela appeared. "Mom, I got full marks on my math test. I also memorized the song for the concert, so you have to come." Jessica smiled. Angela was smart like her, and kind like her dad. She also had a real gift for music. As Jessica typed her reply, she thought about Adam in Singapore. His job at a big global tech company would keep him there for 9 more months. She missed him, but their nightly video calls helped them stay close. "Congratulations, Angela. Let's order your favorite Thai food tonight to celebrate. And, of course, I'll be at your concert. We'll send a video to Dad too." Balancing work and being a mom was never easy, but moments like this made it all worth it. Still, Jessica handled everything well. She always made time for breakfast with Angela and tried to be home for dinner whenever she could. On weekends, they watched movies or went jogging together in Central Park. With her husband away, Jessica and Angela had grown even closer. "Miss Weber, it's almost time for your meeting," Emma said, bringing Jessica back to the moment. The case today was a tough one, a dispute with a big construction company. But Jessica liked challenges. They made her work feel meaningful. Just before stepping into the meeting room, Jessica noticed a message from her mother, Pamela. "Jessica, about this month's rent." She sighed quietly. After her father passed away, her mother's finances had quickly fallen apart. Though her father had looked successful, he had left behind a lot of debt. The life insurance money was all used to pay it off, and soon, debt collectors started calling Pamela. Using her legal skills, Jessica stepped in to protect her mom and began helping her with money. She paid for her mom's fancy apartment and other living costs, something she felt was her duty as a daughter. She also supported her younger sister, Rachel, who became a single mom after their parents' divorce. Rachel worked part-time jobs, but she couldn't afford her son Nathan's school fees. When Rachel asked for help, Jessica couldn't say no. But now wasn't the time to think about all that. She would reply to her mother later. Jessica walked into the meeting room and smiled. "Good morning, everyone. Let's begin." After the meeting, she looked out the window. The rain had stopped, and the sky was bright blue. Angela would be in her favorite English class by now. Just then, Emma entered with a stack of papers. Final documents for tomorrow's trial. Also, Angela's school called again. They changed the parent-teacher meeting date. Clouds were gathering again outside. Emma's voice interrupted her thoughts. "Ms. Weber, your mother is on the phone." That was strange. Pamela usually waited at least a day after texting. Calls from her mom almost always meant one thing: money. "I'm sorry I didn't reply earlier. I've been busy with work." "What's going on?" Her mother's voice came clearly. "It's about the rent and Nathan's school trip. He really wants to go." Jessica held back another sigh. Last week it was a new hobby. The week before, tutoring costs. It never seemed to end. "I'll think about it," she said quietly. "I'll check the budget," Jessica said. On the other end of the phone, she could hear her mother pause. The old Jessica would have said yes right away. But lately, she had started to think more carefully about how much money she was giving to her family. What bothered her most was how her mother Pamela and sister Rachel were living. On social media, they often posted photos of expensive clothes and fancy meals, things that didn't match their part-time jobs. Jessica thought about Angela's future. She knew she couldn't keep sending money forever. Her husband, Adam, had said the same during a recent video call. Helping family is important, but it's not good to make them rely on you too much. After ending the call with her mother, Jessica opened her laptop. She started writing a reply to the email she had put off earlier. Please let me rethink how much money I send starting next month. I want to talk about this properly. Let me know a good time for you. She paused before sending it, wondering how this would affect her family. But she knew it was something she had to do. As soon as she sent the email, her phone rang. It was Rachel. Why now? Rachel asked angrily. Think about Nathan's future. Jessica has stayed calm. Let's talk about this calmly, Rachel. Rachel's voice shook. You don't hold back when it comes to Angela's needs. Jessica was surprised by that. Of course, she wanted the best for Angela. Wasn't that normal for any parent? The call ended without solving anything. A week later, the parent-teacher meeting at Angela's school was coming up. There was a knock at the office door. Emma came in. Here's everything ready for your business trip tomorrow. You have a morning flight. Thank you, Jessica said. Then she added, call my mother. See if she can take care of Angela tomorrow. Usually, Jessica didn't like leaving Angela with her mother. But tomorrow's trial was very important, and there was no other option. Also, she was still worried about her mother after the talk about cutting back the money. Jessica hadn't heard anything from her mother. Rachel had called, full of anger, but her mom's silence felt strange. Emma came back into the room. Your mother said yes. Nathan will be there too, so they can play together. Jessica felt uneasy. Her mom usually made excuses, saying she felt sick or already had plans. But this time, she agreed too quickly. Still, with an important trial the next day, the trip couldn't be avoided. If Angela had to stay somewhere, her grandmother's house was the best choice. But Jessica couldn't shake the bad feeling in her chest. Over dinner, she gently asked Angela, is it okay for you to stay at Grandma's tomorrow? You can play with Nathan. Angela hesitated. Okay. But Nathan has been avoiding me lately. Jessica took note of her daughter's words. Nathan acting distant. Rachel being upset. Her mother agreeing too fast. Something didn't feel right, though she couldn't explain exactly why. The next morning, on the way to the airport, Jessica remembered what she had told Angela before leaving. Promise me. If anything happens, call me right away. I will, Mom. Don't worry. Everything will be fine, Angela said with her usual bright smile. Jessica watched her daughter wave goodbye in the rearview mirror. The image stayed in her mind longer than usual. At New York International Airport, the place was busy as always. After boarding the plane, Jessica looked through her notes for the trial. It was a major case for her firm, and she needed to focus, but something kept bothering her. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be taking off shortly, the flight attendant announced. Just before turning off her phone, Jessica checked for messages. Nothing from Angela. Nothing from Pamela either. That shouldn't have been a big deal, but the silence made her feel even more uneasy. In court, the case went well. Jessica spoke clearly, her points were strong, and the other side was struggling to keep up. After the session ended, her phone suddenly vibrated. It was a message from Angela. Just one word, Mom. Jessica's heart dropped. She knew something was wrong. What's wrong, Angela? Grandma and the others, they left without me. Angela's voice shook over the phone. Jessica froze. What do you mean? Tell me everything. I was playing in the yard. Then everyone got in the car and left. Nathan, Grandma, and Aunt Rachel. They haven't come back. Jessica's hands started to shake. Where are you now? At Grandma's house. What should I do? Stay right there, Jessica said, her voice firm, though her heart was racing. I'm calling the police right now. As soon as she hung up, Jessica called her mother, Pamela. The phone rang several times, When her mother finally answered, her voice was strangely calm. "I'm about to get on a plane," she said and then hung up. Jessica felt anger rising in her chest. She immediately called the police. She explained that her 13-year-old daughter had been left alone on purpose by her grandmother and aunt. Next, she contacted her office. "Emma, get the paperwork ready for a restraining order. Also, stop all money transfers to my mother and Rachel's bank accounts." "Yes. I'll take care of it right away," Emma replied. While booking the next flight back to New York, Jessica called Angela again. "Angela, a police car is on the way. I'm coming back as fast as I can." Her daughter's voice was shaky. "Mom, I'm scared." "It's okay, sweetheart. You didn't do anything wrong. I'll be there soon." After hanging up, Jessica had to fight back tears. How could her own mother and sister do something like this? Leaving a 13-year-old child alone was clearly child neglect. On the way to the airport, Jessica stayed in touch with the police. They told her a patrol car had already reached the house, and Angela was safe. Security camera footage showed Pamela and Rachel getting into the car, laughing as they left. It wasn't a mistake. It was planned. On the flight back, Jessica's hands shook as she wrote notes in her notebook: timelines, evidence, legal steps. She forced herself to stay calm. She had to handle this like the lawyer she was. When she arrived at her mother's house, a police officer was standing with Angela. As soon as Jessica saw her daughter, she almost broke down. "Mom," Angela cried, running into her arms. Jessica hugged her tightly. She could feel how much her daughter was shaking. "You were so brave. Everything is okay now." A police officer walked over. "We've seen the camera footage. It clearly shows they left on purpose. Would you like to press charges?" Jessica took a deep breath. Then she answered firmly, "Yes. And I want to apply for a restraining order too." At that moment, her phone rang. It was her mother. She declined the call. Right now, protecting Angela was the only thing that mattered. On the way home, Angela slowly began to talk about what had happened. "Nathan suddenly started ignoring me. Then while I was playing outside, I heard the door lock. When I turned around, they were gone." Jessica listened carefully, trying to connect the dots. The way her mother and Rachel had changed lately was starting to make sense. Jessica had already told her family she was rethinking the financial support. Nathan's behavior and what happened with Angela were all connected. Her mother, Pamela, had used Angela to pressure Jessica into continuing the money. Rachel, her sister, had used the moment to let out her jealousy toward Jessica's success. As soon as Jessica got home, she called her office. "Emma, cancel all my appointments starting tomorrow. Also, please book a therapy session for Angela." That day marked a big change in Jessica's family, but it was something she had to do. She needed to protect her daughter and end the unhealthy family situation. In the office conference room, a serious mood filled the air. Documents were neatly placed on the table: security camera screenshots, the first police report, and the restraining order paperwork. All of it showed how serious yesterday's events had been. "Miss Weber, your mother has called again," Emma said quietly. "It's the 10th call this morning." "Log the calls, but don't answer," Jessica said. She had already spoken to her husband, Adam, on a video call early that morning. He had offered to come home right away, but Jessica told him not to. She wanted to stay calm and handle everything the right way through legal steps, not emotions. Henry Winkler, the firm's consulting attorney and an old friend, came into the room. He had rushed over as soon as he heard what happened. "I've reviewed everything," Henry said. "The restraining order will definitely go through. The question is what happens next." Jessica nodded. "I've already started the process to fully stop all financial support." "That's a smart move," Henry said, flipping through the documents. "But we need to be ready for their reaction. They might try to damage your name in public." Just then, Jessica's phone buzzed. It was a message from her mother sent through an old social media account Jessica hadn't used in a while. "Why did you call the police? This is a family matter." Angela wasn't in danger. It was just a lesson. Jessica's hands shook as she read the words. A lesson? Leaving a 13-year-old girl alone like that was not a lesson, it was cruel. She could feel the twisted intent behind the message to make her and Angela feel weak and helpless. "Don't react emotionally," Henry said gently. "They'll use anything you say or do against you." He was right. Jessica took a deep breath and steadied herself. Her 21 years as a lawyer were being put to the test. "Did you manage to get Angela's therapy appointment?" she asked Emma. "Yes. It's tomorrow at 2 p.m. with Dr. Helen Mirren." Jessica nodded. Helping Angela heal was her top priority. The night before, Angela had woken up crying from a nightmare. She had asked, "Mom, are you still here?" Jessica's heart broke hearing that. "Jessica," Henry said in a quiet voice, "do you know your mother and Rachel's financial situation?" "Yes," Jessica replied. "I've been paying for Mom's rent, Nathan's school, and other expenses. Without that money, they won't be able to manage." "I know," Jessica said softly, "but that's the result of the choices they made." Just then, a call came from the front desk of the office. Emma answered and turned to Jessica. "Rachel is here." "What should I do?" "Don't let her in," Jessica said right away. But before Emma could act, Rachel's voice could already be heard coming from the hallway. "Jessica, please. Just listen to me. It was for Angela's sake." Jessica closed her eyes. Rachel truly believed that by hurting Angela, she could force Jessica to keep sending money. It was cruel and selfish. Rachel's voice reminded Jessica of the past, of the days they played together as children, laughing and running through the park. Those warm memories now felt like cracks on thin ice, still there, but fragile and painful. "Should I call security?" Emma asked gently. "Yes, please," Jessica said with a quiet sigh. A few minutes later, Rachel's voice faded as security escorted her out, but the heavy feeling remained in the conference room. "It's not over yet," Jessica whispered. "They will try again." Henry, her legal advisor, nodded. "That's why it's important to keep records. We must document everything, every message, every call, every visit." He was right. Jessica couldn't let emotions get in the way. She had to stay focused, stay sharp, and protect Angela at all costs. That afternoon, Jessica left work early. She went to pick up Angela from school, just like she had promised. When she arrived, Angela was laughing with her friends. But the moment she saw her mom, she ran over and hugged her tightly. "Mom, you really came, just like you said." Jessica's heart ached. Angela still feared being left behind. That fear wouldn't go away easily. "I'll always come, sweetheart. I'll never leave you." On the way home, Angela talked about her school day, her classes, her lunch, her favorite teacher. It was a normal conversation, but Jessica noticed the little signs, hesitant pauses, nervous glances. Her daughter was still healing. When they got home, there was a message on the answering machine. "Jessica, please let's talk. We can't let our family fall apart like this." It was Pamela's voice. Jessica didn't wait for it to finish. She deleted it. This wasn't just a family disagreement. It was betrayal. Her daughter had been put in danger. There was no going back. Later that night, after Angela had gone to sleep, Jessica worked in her study. She had a full list of things to prepare: the hearing for the restraining order, the therapy appointments, the steps to stop all financial support. Everything had to move forward. A month later, the leaves had turned red and orange. Jessica looked out her office window at the autumn view. On her screen were alerts. Pamela's rent was unpaid, and Nathan had been expelled from school. The effects of stopping support were becoming clear. Emma walked in with new papers. They're from Pamela and Rachel's lawyer. At first, they threatened to sue for defamation, but the security camera footage proves your case. "Schedule a meeting with their lawyer," Jessica said calmly. She was ready for whatever came next. Jessica had made up her mind. She would not let her emotions control her. Everything from this point on would be handled through the law. That was the safest way to protect both herself and Angela. The night before, Angela had finally slept peacefully. It was the first calm night in a long time. Her regular counseling sessions were beginning to help. Dr. Marin, the psychologist, had told Jessica that Angela was showing signs of improvement. She was healing slowly, but surely. Still, Jessica could see the small signs: nervous looks or moments of silence that reminded her of the fear Angela had experienced. It made Jessica's heart tighten every time. "Your mother has moved out," Emma said, interrupting Jessica's thoughts. "She left the fancy apartment in Rochester last week. She was 4 months behind on rent." Jessica nodded quietly. She had expected this. Her mother had moved into a small government housing unit far from the city. It was a big change from the luxury life she used to show off. "There's more," Emma continued. "Rachel's situation has changed too. Nathan's father visited and found out what had been going on. He's been granted full custody and Rachel now has to pay child support. She's living with your mother now." Jessica listened in silence. She wasn't happy about their suffering, but she knew it was the result of their own choices. Henry, the consulting lawyer, entered the office with some new information. "There's something you should know," he said carefully. "Yesterday, Rachel was caught stealing from a local supermarket. It didn't go to court. They settled it with a plea deal." Jessica closed her eyes. Her sister's life was clearly falling apart. "There's more," Henry added. "Your mother was seen at a church charity, standing in line to receive free food." Jessica was shocked for a moment. Her mother, who once wore designer clothes and dined at expensive restaurants, was now asking for help from a food bank. "She deleted all her social media," Emma said. "All the pictures of luxury brands and fancy vacations are gone. It looks like they've given up trying to show off that life." The life they had lived, built on Jessica's support, was gone. The image they had tried so hard to keep up had finally crumbled. Henry gave his legal opinion. "This clearly shows that their lifestyle was only possible because of your financial help. Stopping that support was fully justified. They had no backup plan. They were completely dependent on you." Jessica nodded again. She felt no joy in their downfall, only a quiet understanding that her decision had been necessary. She didn't want revenge. She only wanted peace, safety, and a healthy life for her daughter. This was the result of a choice she had to make. And it was the right one. Jessica knew that the decision she had made was hard, but it was necessary. It came with consequences, but they were a part of choosing to protect herself and her daughter. "Mom, look." Angela called out cheerfully that afternoon when she came home from school. She held up a colorful drawing with pride. "My teacher said we should enter it in the school art exhibition." Jessica smiled, feeling a wave of relief. Angela was slowly returning to her cheerful self. Her eyes were bright, and her energy had come back. For a while after the incident with her grandmother and aunt, Angela had struggled in school. Her grades had slipped, and she had been quiet and nervous. But now, she was doing better again. "Congratulations," Jessica said warmly. "It's a beautiful piece. I'm so proud of you." That evening, during a video call with